The air was warm, and the sun shone brightly as the dragon emerged from his cave in the high passes. The world over, spring had already turned into summer's heat and warmth. That was simply a fact of life, which tormented the few people who knew anything about hemispheres and basic orbital theory, but it was true, and summer brought warmth, full harvests, and, of course, life. The wildlife, fed on a longer spring than usual, was growing at breakneck speed. Goblin tribes doubled their population, herds of animals bore new young, and the monsters did the same. But if levelless nature was prolific, well, so were people. Children were being born, or growing, and those already grown dreamed and made their plans for a future generation. The lords and ladies of Israel in the north plotted, schemed, and sometimes acted outright. In Chandrar, the nations of the desert continent waited, at odds with each other but united by a common enemy, the King of Destruction. And Baleros? The companies were still battling in the jungles when they weren't trying to take a break in the shade from all the heat. Rear, coldest of the continents, save for parts of Tarandria and Baleros, had a milder summer, but no less eventful. The Blighted Kingdom was moving, excited. So were the demons. While summer gave life, it also motivated each species and nation to pursue their own ends. Individuals could shape the fate of empires. They were, after all, the inheritors of this world, children. And there were far too many of them. The dragon lifted his head, blinking in the daylight. He growled. He was gigantic, larger than a plane from another world, and this one almost unrivaled for size. His scales were gold. No, brass. They shone brighter than gold, though, as the light caught them. The mane running along the back of his long neck was like molten copper, and his eyes were mismatched, heterochromia of heliotrope and cerulean. To look into them was to see the same light stars were made of, the essence of magic, and to behold him here would be to see a myth, a dragon. Even in this world full of magic, they were a sight few would see in their lifetimes, a story. But one existed, at least one. Now he raised his head, looking up toward the clear, beautiful blue sky in the towering high passes. Above him rose the mountains, which dwarfed even Teriarch's form 1,000,000 times over, vast peaks that rose beyond imagination. But that wasn't what concerned the Tyrant of Flames. Teriarch opened his jaws, exposing brilliant, only slightly yellowed teeth, and he roared one word upwards.
"Riches!"
He breathed fire. Dragon's fire shot upwards, brilliant tongues of flame so bright and vivid, curling upwards, so hot that air ignited around the magical fire, expanding, a flaming jet filling the sky. Monsters and animals alike fled the searing heat, but what Teriarch was aiming at didn't flee. The dragon exhaled, the fire burning. Then he felt a cold sting, a chill in this summer's heat. Frost blasted down around him, and the fire traveling upwards stopped. A blast of pure frost, of chill wind and frozen air met the dragon's fire and exploded as cold air and hot air met. The dragon covered his face with one wing as debris blasted around him, though there was little real threat. He growled, roared, and shot fire up again.
"Begone, you brats!"
And his words were fire itself, but the torrent of fire that shot upwards was met by an equal force. It came not from one mouth, but hundreds. Circling above the dragon, flying high overhead, wyverns breathed a deadly, chilling frost. The ice wyverns of the high passes were tiny compared to Teriarch, but there were hundreds. No, over 1,000. This clutch was tremendous in size, and though their individual breath attacks could barely stop Teriarch's flames, together, another explosion rocked the high passes. Panting, Teriarch wheezed as the wyverns were blown away by the blast of air. They fought to group together again, shrieking their fury. The dragon inhaled as frost tickled his scales. He looked up and pointed. One enterprising wyvern had swooped lower and was blasting him with cold.
"You arrogant little worm!"